And we've got the Raw show from Monday night. I wish Vinny had watched SmackDown so we could talk about Jinder, but he lucked out. Didn't have to watch that show.
You were not impressed by Jinder?
Fuck no, are you kidding me?
You're not buying him as a legitimate world championship contender?
I'm still not over it yet. And that pay-per-view is like 5 weeks away. That's a long time.
Oh, I thought they were doing this like in the undercard or Payback or something.
No.
Oh.
It's Backlash.
They have, okay.
It would be, I mean, it would still be horrible, but like, if it were a 2-week build, him getting beaten on the undercard, that would be fine, but it's Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt in 2 weeks, or a week or whatever.
Yeah.
And then there's 4 more weeks, and then we get that match. So we have 5 weeks of Jinder
to look
all
forward to.
over television. Yeah. Cool.
Well, good luck with that.
Fucking cool. And by the way, whoever said that Jimmy Valiant Paul Jones match was like one of the worst matches of all time, like, I'll fight you. That match was awesome. That match was so fucking much fun. Now, granted, because unlike with half the stuff in WWE today that nobody cares about, I mean, I never saw heat like that. For one guy ripping off another guy's clothes.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It wasn't even Sable and Luna.
No.
It was Paul Jones and Jimmy Valiant tearing at each other's clothes. What the fuck? All right, let's get Granny here on the line. And our special guest here today, straight from Japan, Granny. What's up, Granny?
From Japan?
Never mind.
All right.
All right.
Okay. I had kind of a different week.
Please talk about it.
Yeah, tell us about it.
Okay, first of all, I was supposed to have a card party on Wednesday, and Tony isn't feeling too well, so we couldn't have our card party. And then I thought I was going to the casino on April the 20th, and it's not till May the 20th.
This again?
And then...
It's like when you thought your deck was going to be there in January, but it was actually February.
Whatever. Anyway...
No, this is a very important detail, Granny. Why are you always a month off on everything? What the hell was that?
Is that your phone or mine? Is that phone?
I'm getting a message.
Oh.
Done. Anyway, I'm old. What do you want?
I don't know.
We want you to be just the way you are.
Yeah.
Good. Anyway, and then your mom's off of work, so she decided we were going to go visit my brother out in Auburn, and so we took out a whole bunch of food, and my other brother came, and we all sat there and insulted each other all afternoon.
Why weren't you recording that?
Man, this sounds like I should have gone. Whitney's so happy now that she didn't go after hearing that.
Oh, I don't know about my relatives sometimes.
I don't either.
I also had a brother-in-law in Spokane that passed away today.
That's terrible news.
My sister's husband. He was 80.
Sister's husband. Man.
Wait a minute. He was 90.
So now we're a year off and a decade off.
Yeah, he was 90.
Who is this?
That's my sister's husband. She passed away a few years ago. And he did live in Arizona, but the kids got tired of him, so they shipped him to Spokane, where he used to live, and put him in a home.
Man.
Yeah, I've heard that happens.
All the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
All the time, Granny.
So
No, she's right. I went visited my grandpa in the home, and I was like everyone's grandson because their kids never came.
Wow.
Yeah, it's true. Don't get old, everyone.
Well, it's okay to get old if your family goes to visit you.
I guess.
We used to
But
go.
they won't. That's what I'm
we used to
saying.
go visit before he had his stroke. Whitney's grandpa Vern was in a home.
Really?
Oh man,
My grandpa's name.
We visited Vern all the time.
Isn't he there anymore?
Well, no, because he had a stroke and now needs 24-hour vigilant attention.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Are you kidding me? This was like a year ago. It was a big story. Or 2 years ago. How did you not know that?
I just knew he was in a home, but I didn't know how bad it was.
Well, it was bad after he had a series of strokes.
Oh.
But before that, he was in an old folks' home in the middle of Redmond. That like downtown Redmond, with a view of the water.
That's what I heard.
Yep, and I would go over there all the time with Whitney, and I'd walk in that place, and I'd be like, can I move in here? This fucking place is awesome.
I can
Bunch
imagine.
of old people hanging around. There was food served all the time. You had a view of the waterfront, and you were a block away from Ben and Jerry's. We'd walk there all the time and get ice cream. I was like, this is the life. The hell am
and
I doing? Slaving away?
I bet you it was expensive too.
Yeah, I don't think it was cheap, but
I can imagine.
he had a great time there.
The cheaper ones are almost like $2,000 a month.
It's not cheap. It was much more than that, I'm sure.
So that's why I got to hang around here for a while
You gotta
longer.
stick around there, Granny. Gotta stick around before we ship you off.
Okay. I have questions again because I didn't want a contest or anything. So somebody was suggesting that maybe we read some of the first ones and then skip down and read some of the middle ones and then skip down and read some of the last ones so that some of these guys that, like he says, work 8 hours a day and then they put in their...
That's why you couldn't get on there earlier.
Yeah, so they say, that, it's not really that fair. So should we try it that way for a while?
What about the people that go out of their way, no matter whether they're working or not, to make sure they get in there first? That's not fair to them to skip over them.
Well, maybe some of them can't.
Whatever, Granny. It's your show.
Well, it's up to Vinny if he wants to do that or not.
Tell you what, Granny, I'll let you say, I'm going to start asking questions, and when you say skip to the middle, I will skip ahead a bit.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll start with Jeff Hawkins, who wants to know, has technology made us better or worse communicators?
Clearly worse.
Let's start this whole thing over. Has technology made us better or worse communicators with one another?
You know what's funny is we were doing the mailbag last night, and somebody sent in this question, and then today on the board they were like, I can't believe Brian butchered my question so badly. I read his question word for word, and he blamed it on me.
Well, this one you can blame on me. I mumbled.
This one was your fault.
Wait a minute. What are we doing here? I got mine is Brandon vacation.
You don't see a question from Jeff right above that? Do I have this?
This is so amazing.
Okay, start out wherever.
Yeah, why don't we just start out wherever? Who cares? Then it's random.
Clearly, we're communicating
just ask
worse.
some damn questions, Vinny.
I thought he might have dropped down to last week's.
No. It's at the top, although it does say 7 hours.
He's
The next one
not
says
that
12.
incompetent.
Okay, that one's not on here. That's okay. Go ahead.
Jeff, I believe we have answered your question. Brendan Vacation wants to
There
know,
you go.
would you accept gentleman Jack Gallagher's offering of an umbrella on a day like today?
I guess I would.
Hell yeah, that's all she complained about before the show started was the weather.
But I don't usually use an umbrella. They're too much of a nuisance.
No one in Seattle actually uses umbrellas.
Whitney does.
Really?
Yeah, all the time. We have a baby we're trying to keep dry.
Babies
Shouldn't be
will
out-
survive if rain.
I know that, but she takes the baby for a walk for a nap. She's not going to walk around for an hour in a downpour.
Brian, do you still take her for a walk for a nap?
Yes, we do.
Oh my gosh, she'll be doing that till she's 10.
Sweet. Fine with me.
Wow.
I'll take any opportunity for this baby to cuddle with me, because she doesn't unless she's sleeping.
Huh. Okay.
Tony Konadaris is going to try his question again. He tried it last week. It didn't work out. He wants to know if you could put 3 things in a box, and that box wouldn't be open for 50 years, what would you put in the box for people to find?
Wow.
Happiness.
Well,
Friendship.
Was it supposed to be that or something
Well,
that...
he suggested a book, a picture, or a Granny Gang t-shirt.
Yeah.
Sure. Things, Granny.
Physical objects.
Yeah.
Well,
Stuff
I
that
have-
you could open and find in 50 years.
I'd have to put in, I guess, one of the shirts and a book. Maybe one of your books, Brian. And I also finished Fred's book. I would put that in there, too.
Okay.
It turned out to be
Alrighty.
a good book.
Well, it's timeless knowledge in there. Wait, is that the book about how to pick up a woman, or is that the book about his life and career?
His life and career.
Oh, I'd put the other book in.
Oh, he has another book?
Yeah, these millennials today, they can't get a date. That's going to be even more valuable knowledge in 50 years.
It will.
It will.
What's it-
It'll be like hidden knowledge.
What's
a
it
book
about?
that tells you how to get a girl. Wow.
Oh, my.
A drive-in
Yeah.
Saturday. Next
That
one.
must-
You got to talk to him?
Who could ever
the
get up
fuck?
enough information for that?
Well, Fred, would you like me to bring it over? Maybe you
have
could
it?
use it.
If you have it, I would read it.
All right, I'll bring it over.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Go ahead,
That was a
Vinny.
very subtle guilt this time.
Olivier Cardot wants to know who is your favorite Mariners player ever. Mine is Ichiro, he says.
Okay, I liked Griffey. Ken Griffey was my favorite.
Junior or senior?
Junior.
Okay. Well, they both played. It's a fair question.
And I liked him.
What
when
a stupid question.
When
He
the
also
father,
wants... Oh, go ahead, Granny.
when the father and son played together was fun.
That's just what I asked.
Yeah.
Okay. He also wants to know if you have an answer for that, Brian.
What's the question?
Your favorite Mariner ever.
Oh, man. You know, Homer.
Mine's either Ichiro or Randy Johnson, but they both were number 51. So I figured that should count.
Randy Johnson was good too.
He was a great Mariner.
But I think Ichiro was back here in Seattle, wasn't he?
He is. He is back.
He was just
Yeah.
here playing against them.
I found my little transistor radio, so now I could listen to the game.
Excellent.
Wow.
That's very good news.
Yeah,
That's excellent news.
yeah.
Mike Flynn asks, would you ever try a cup of chili lime toasted grasshoppers? They're a great source of protein.
No, thank you.
Apparently the connection there is, I believe those are being served at Mariners games this year.
Oh,
Wow.
you're
You
kidding.
get a cup of grasshoppers.
That's disgusting.
Oh,
They probably
wow.
cost $12, I bet. All right, skip that. Steve Burns wants to know, why hasn't Brian added your name to the intro to the show? Even the guest hosts get an intro.
Aha.
Well, I add her name to the title.
Afterwards.
Sure, yeah.
That's good. Okay, Vinny, do two more, then skip.
Okay, two more and then skip.
I was going to say two more total, but go ahead.
Noel Radigan wants to know, did you guilt trip your brother-in-law after he tried to shoot you?
I wouldn't try
Where
that.
was he last week when he could ask that question?
He could have. He probably would have shot me all over then, not just between my feet. I still don't know how that happened, but it did.
And then Dominic Stote asks, what would you do if you ever found a vagrant sleeping in your carport?
I'd let him sleep, and then I'd call the cops in the morning.
Okay.
Did you hear the story about the guy that he had a rental house and some dude broke in and was taking a shower?
Yes.
And so he left.
He left?
He left. He came back with a gun and he shot the guy.
Yeah, you can't do that.
I mean, you can't, but like, you also can't break into someone's house and fucking take a shower.
No.
I mean, these are both wrong.
No. But...
Now, I guess if he would have said, get the fuck out of my shower, and the guy said no and he shot him, then would that be okay? Was it that he didn't give him a warning?
it's the whole leaving
Brian,
and not
the-
calling the police.
I see.
And the fact that he left and then came back. I
Yes.
mean,
Now, what if
that's-
you put a no trespassing sign on your shower? Then are you okay to shoot the guy because he had fair warning?
I'm not sure how that works.
I don't either.
But it was neither he nor his property were in any danger. And he opted to kill the guy rather than call the authorities.
Oh,
You can't do that.
you guys, we had a big bank robbery downtown today.
Yes, we
I
did.
did.
7-Eleven.
I was very happy we were not. I was not down there.
7-Eleven?
Yeah.
A bank robbery at a 7-Eleven?
No, it wasn't a bank robbery. It was.
Didn't she say a bank robbery? Could have sworn she said a bank
I said
robbery.
a robbery downtown.
Okay.
I think.
Am I skipping ahead now? I forget.
Yes. I command thee to skip ahead.
All right, I'll go down one page. Let's see where we're here. All right, there. All right. Adam Hall asked, would you rather be itchy for the rest of your life or sticky for the rest of your life?
Did you have to pick that
Okay,
one, Penny?
I'll get skip to the next one then.
I mean, definitely sticky.
Really, yeah.
Yeah, because I don't want to itch, but
It-
stickiness could come in handy if I don't have enough hands.
Or you
Big-
climb a wall.
Sure.
Vinny, just kind of go through and see if there's any that's.
Man, it'd be really handy for jiu-jitsu now that I think about it.
God forbid I ask a silly question on the show. So there's the next one where he asks, what candy bar would you be? Is that acceptable?
Oh, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
Kath asks, do you think Brian should stop swearing on his show?
Oh, definitely.
Oh, get out of here.
Definitely.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. The one that started all this. Chicky Singer.
Oh, God, it's Ryan from Cumberland.
Oh, is it now?
Yeah.
Well, I'll ask it anyway. Why do you always answer the questions from first to last? If you would answer the questions from last to first, you would get questions from the people that work
Wait
8
a
to
second.
5
This
jobs.
numbskull isn't even a subscriber.
And get different people asking questions instead of the same people
Shut
asking
up,
the
Ryan.
questions
Get
each
out of
week.
here. Next question.
Oh, is that him that did
Yeah.
that? Uh-oh.
He's a numbskull.
Patrick Brain wants to know, Granny, are you concerned about the high levels of hydric acid in our drinking water?
I filter all my water.
So no.
The answer is no, yeah.
No.
Another question about your favorite Mariners player. Douglas Sudia, what's your favorite charcuterie? I love sapressata myself.
What's that?
Fine meats and cheeses, Granny. Do you have any, like, salami or...
I love cheese.
Fantastic.
That guy sounds like a vintner.
Cheese.
I love cheddar cheese.
Cheddar. Cheddar's a good answer.
It's my favorite.
Okay.
All right, 2 more. We got wrestling to talk about.
Liam Jordan asks, why does the rain in Spain fall mainly on the plain?
It doesn't. It falls in Seattle.
Yeah, the plane disappeared.
All right.
What?
Topher Minsky wants to know, what is the fanciest place you have ever been to?
Must have been down in Vegas, I guess.
Vegas is the fanciest place you've ever been to.
They had a fire, too, at the, what was it, Mirage?
Bellagio had a fire.
That's right. They did have a
Bellagio.
fire.
One
yeah.
of them did have a fire. Yeah.
So Las Vegas, Nevada, the fanciest place you've ever been to in 80 plus years.
Yep. Yep.
They have some nice entrance places in some of those casinos.
They have some nice casinos that are very, very fancy.
That's true.
Yeah.
Certainly not plain.
No, they're not plain. Granny, let's do the wrestling report.
We
By
have,
the way, I had a request that you watch a show called Ride Along with Jack Gallagher. Can I send you the link and you'll watch it?
I already saw that today.
Really?
I saw Gallagher and Bates shake hands for the
That's
match
not
for-
Ride Along.
Oh, but they're going to have a match next week.
Yes, they are going to have a match next week. I cannot wait for you to watch it. It's probably going to be awesome.
I hope so. Anyway, Gallagher doesn't look too bad when he's dressed up, when he hasn't got his...
He's a very handsome man in his fine threads,
He's still not handsome, though.
but he looks better.
He looks better with
So it's his
clothes.
pale skin that bothers you.
Definitely.
Okay.
Part of it, but...
What's the other
Anyway,
part?
I have
Skinny?
a question. What happened to Nakamura? Did he retire?
No, he is on SmackDown now, which you can't watch.
Oh, that's sad.
Oh, man. Sorry, Granny.
Okay, now...
But, Granny, he will be on the pay-per-views.
Okay.
So you'll be able to watch those on the network.
A couple of these aren't really that much wrestling. It's just something like Swan came out and he talked about giving Alicia all the presents. And then out
205
came...
Live.
And the guy we were trying to figure out who it was last week, that Alicia's boyfriend, all I could find out was D-O-R. Is that right? Because that was what was on the back of his shirt.
D-O-R?
Uh-huh. Don't you guys know who the guy was that Alicia liked?
I don't.
D-A-R?
No, D-O-R.
Is it Noam Dar?
He's
No,
on
that's
there
an
all
A.
he's on there all the time. How come you guys don't know who he is?
I mean,
Excuse me.
you're right over there?
I get this every once in a while. Anyway, he came out and they were talking back and forth, and out comes Alicia. And she gets in there and she grabs the mic and she says to Dor that she
Dor.
says,
It's got to
"You
be
are-"
Noam Dar.
Has to be.
It's got to be Noam Dar.
Could be. Anyway, she says, "You are immature, your cologne stinks, and you can't cook." So she said, "Just leave." She said, "I've just been using you anyway."
Wow.
Yeah, so he turns around and leaves, and
Heard that
and
speech.
she starts talking to Swan, and he takes the mic away from her, and he won't let her talk, and he says, "I just wanted to let you know what I think of you," and he said, and he made it plain that he didn't want her at all, and he just leaves her standing there in the
It just hit me.
what?
We should have Granny review soap operas every day.
Oh,
Can you imagine a soap opera podcast with Granny reviewing every episode?
Oh gosh, my soaps are really something.
Yeah,
I bet they are.
that's the point.
Anyway, she stands there and then she takes the mic and she said, "Well, I like being single better anyway." Then there's another one with Alamos and Danny Birch. I've never seen him before.
Now we're in
and-
NXT.
Yeah, Birch drops almost on his back hard on the mat. Almost gives Danny a chin chop and gets him in the corner and puts his feet in his face. And they go back and forth and almost gives Danny a hammerlock for the win.
Wow.
So Danny beat Almost.
That's just the bare bones right there.
Okay.
Was a hammerlock followed by a DDT?
I never know what the heck's going on. But that was a very short match. I only gave it a 3.
Oh.
Man, try harder, guys.
Yeah, come on, Alamus. He's out partying too much. He's getting 3s now.
Okay, and then there's another one with Bobby Roode.
Bobby Roode?
Bobby Roode. He comes out and he's all dressed up and he starts telling a promo, and all of a sudden...
So somehow you watched the match and then the promo that was before the match, you somehow watched second.
I'm kind of messing these around, so
okay.
Just take it as they go.
Okay.
So anyway, Tommy Itami comes out, and they're both in the...
Tommy
Itami?
Okay.
Okay, so they're both in the ring, and Roode keeps talking to him, and Tommy just stands there, never says a word, and so Roode gets kind of upset because he's not talking, so he takes off his shirt or his jacket and walks over to hit Tommy. And somehow or other, Tommy just turned around and just knocked him out flatter than a pancake.
Wow.
Way to go, Tommy.
Tommy, my new favorite wrestler.
Yeah, he just knocked him out. And so he picks up the belt and looks at it a little bit. And then he lays it back down and leaves the ring.
What a feud that's going to be.
And Roode's still laying there passed out. Okay, I have one more. I skipped the Billy and Peyton versus Aaliyah and Liv. Billy and Liv lock up. They do that every time. They lock up their bodies somehow and twisted their legs around, and then they twirl around the inside of the ring. Have you seen them do that?
Yeah, it's called a Kiwi roll.
Oh, okay. And so Liv gets a knee drop on Billy, and then Peyton comes in, pulls Aaliyah's hair, as usual. Kicks her on the side of the head. Peyton has Aaliyah down for the count, but Liv jumps in and kicks Peyton. So Peyton gets distracted, and Aaliyah jumps her and gets the count, gets her down for the 3 count. So Aaliyah beat Peyton. And
Man, that was an excellent job recapping a doubles match.
And then Peyton and Billy are so livid. They're in the ring just jumping around and just having a fit because they lost.
Livid. Steaming mad.
Yeah.
That's actually a very good recap of that
match.
It
was excellent. We cannot do better.
Okay, that's it.
That's it? You didn't watch the main event with the cage?
No, I didn't.
Too violent?
It's because I watched some yesterday and then some again today. So I was kind of picky on what I was
I understand. It wasn't that exciting anyway till the end. All right, Granny. Well, good work.
Okay.
What else do you have coming up this week?
Let's see. Paul's coming over tomorrow to do some more cement work, and I got my door fixed that I can come right out of my back door and go down the steps and go into my car, the carport. Yeah.
Cool.
He fixed it so the rain wouldn't come down on me, and so everything's looking up.
Didn't I ask when that thing first got installed, what about when you go from the carport to the house and you get rained on, and you were like, don't worry about it.
Well, I got it fixed. It's really neat.
Yeah, about that. Well, Granny, I'll come over and check it out someday.
Yeah, bring the book.
I will.
Okay, that's it then.
All right, that sounds good, Granny. We'll talk to you next week.
All righty.
All right.
Goodbye.
Adios. All righty, never a dull moment with old Granny. I'm ready for this NXT report.
I better bring it up then. There it is. Okay. NXT, April 19th, 2017. Bobby Roode came out for a promo, took credit for a sellout of the TakeOver show, said he has snuffed out the last star of the old NXT, and now the future of the brand was under his control. And then he had to watch Shinsuke Nakamura get in his ring, and the whole roster came out and cheered him on, and the fans sang his song and chanted his name. He said Shinsuke wasn't leaving, Rude had beaten him so badly he had no choice but to tuck his tail between his legs and get out. He buried the fans. I believe the fans chanted, "We deserve it," which is funny. And finally, he's running down Nakamura, and out comes Tommy Atami.
Tommy Atami. Mm-hmm. That seriously is like the new best wrestler name I've ever heard.
Why wasn't it Tommy Atami?
Tommy Atami.
Yeah. So Tommy Atami had a stare down with Rude, and then he slapped him. Rude got mad, and he takes off the championship belt and sets it down. And he removes his jacket and sets it down, and he curls up his shirt sleeves, and he goes to get in Tommy Atami's face, and Tommy Atami just grabs him, hits a go to sleep, leaves him laying. Place is going nuts. And Tommy poses with the belt before he leaves, and then he leaves. It's like the best thing they've done with him since he debuted.
Yeah. Now he's actually in a main event program with a main event guy. And
put in a position to look good.
That's right. Looks like this will be the championship match, although there are still weeks of television left to set it up. I don't like to give spoilers here on this show, but finally something with Tommy Atami. And he's working with a guy that probably is not going to hurt him.
Right. God willing. They ran down the matches for tonight, as they always do. Could they not have found a better picture of Aaliyah?
Yeah. I don't like to be critical of anyone's looks, Vinny. But there are more flattering pictures of Aaliyah out there than the one that they used here.
I would bet all of them.
But see, the thing was, they had all these girls, and I was busy looking at Peyton and Liv. I didn't even notice the other ones.
I see.
You had to point it out to me.
I did. That's true. Kayla, right?
It was Kayla.
Interviewed.
I think. It was not Dasha. But I couldn't tell you for sure if it was actually Kayla. But I know it was not Dasha, and I know it wasn't Charlie.
Okay. So as far as we know, by process of elimination, it must be Kayla.
You know, they've got a new girl that there was a video online of her being introduced to the NXT audience. It was like a backstage deal. And like she wasn't brunette.
Really?
And my mind was blown.
Huh.
Like, what's going on here?
I bet she will be in a week.
Could be. Like they tried something different.
Yeah, they hate that. Regardless, Kayla interviewed Tyler Bate and Jack Gallagher. They'll be facing each other next week for the UK title. They had legitimately the most gentlemanly pre-match hype you ever saw. Talked about how great it was watching each other. I watched you in that UK tournament fine work. Oh, well, I have the network, and I watch you every week on 205 Live. It's going to be a great honor to challenge you for that UK title. And just at the very, very end, there's a little bit of tension where each guy thought the other might win, but they did shake hands.
You know, since I'm going to be sitting here drooling all over Liv Morgan here in a while, as a happily married man, I can say that this young Tyler Bate's a handsome young fella.
Oh, sure.
He no longer has just a goofy mustache. He actually grew out like, he's got a beard now. Now, granted, every fucking guy in the world has a beard these days, but the beard is way better than when he had just the mustache.
Right.
He looked like the youngest 60-year-old ever.
Basically, yeah.
With his old look. This is heavily improved. Yeah. And again, this is why this guy's the champion. When you look at the whole roster, with I think there was one guy, I already forgot his name, but there was one other guy in the UK tournament that had a really good physique. But this is why this guy's the champion.
Yeah.
Because you still got to try. I don't mean that. I know that everyone in the UK is mad all of a sudden. I'm not saying that nobody tries, but like when you're in the business of professional wrestling and your goal is to convince the fans that you are a wrestler and an athlete, like you should do everything you can to look like an athlete, to look like you've got muscles. Know what I mean?
I do, and it goes double, triple, quadruple in any promotion run by someone named McMahon.
Or Helmsley. This is Hunter Hearst Helmsley's promotion.
Yes.
For fuck's sake, he wanted to push Dana Brooke.
Yeah.
Dana Brooke was going to wrestle Charlotte at WrestleMania this year. Why? Because she was a bodybuilder. Literally the only thing she's got going for her. So, everybody keep getting in the weight room. Some things change, some things ain't ever going to change.
No. So we had that backstage promo. We had video packages. We had 2 commercial breaks, and they come back. Bobby Roode is still down in the ring, still being tended to by officials. And eventually he was able to get to his feet, retrieve his jacket and belt, and leave, trying to act fine while clearly being not fine. I was very excited. I thought we were going to get a heavy machinery skit. but instead it was just them in the weight room witnessing a confrontation between Andrade Almas and Drew McIntyre, and now those two men are going to have a match next week.
Okay, I got a serious question here. Why in the world is everybody always filming everything in NXT?
I don't know.
Have you noticed that that's like their new thing?
Yes.
Like,
Well, it started with...
I guess they figure it's too fake to always have like a cameraman there to catch stuff. So now the new gimmick is all of the wrestlers are always filming goofy shit on their phones and they catch something happening.
It made sense with Billy and Peyton because they're so egocentric and into themselves. They would want to document everything they do anyway.
Yeah, like wire heavy machinery. I mean, the guy was like doing the incline press or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe he was, I know he was setting some sort of, I guess the story was they were filming him set some sort of personal best or something.
It's important to get that on a film.
But still, my point is, when everybody does it, it's wacky. When only one act does it or a couple, whatever, now everybody has to film everything.
We had Andrade Almas versus Danny Burch. Wasn't much to it. Burch looked good when given a chance, and Almas hit the knees in the corner and the hammerlock DDT and won.
This Danny Burch is a really good wrestler. Mm-hmm. I think he's awesome.
Yeah.
I think he's criminally underused here in NXT.
Really great Asuka video package. She came in. She's a new face in the company. She kicked everyone's ass. In the process, gradually got more and more confident, then more and more arrogant, and then more and more just bitchy because she was so much better than everybody.
And it's so funny because she's still so over and so popular.
Yes, because she's so much better than everybody.
They're trying so hard to make you hate her.
Yes.
And it's just not working.
But everyone said now at some point she was due to get overconfident. And so all the other women on the roster said, I'm going to be the one that beats her.
See, they're trying very, very hard, but at the end of the day, especially in 2017, if you're a WWE fan, like, the idea that there's actually someone that can't be beaten, that's cool. Like, fans are begging for somebody like this.
Yes.
They're trying to push it like she's beaten everybody, and so now she's arrogant.
Now you must boo her.
And you must put her in her place.
Yeah.
And fans are like, no, she's fucking awesome. She deserves this.
Yeah.
She deserves it.
She does, in fact, deserve it.
This is backfiring here in 2017 WWE.
It's a mystery to them. Why are they cheering the person who wins all the time? And a Taya Dillinger Sanity video package. Had the Liv Morgan and Aaliyah versus Billie Kay and Peyton Royce tag match. Sloppy women's developmental tag match. Aaliyah pinned Peyton with a sunset flip. The Mean Girls did throw a funny tantrum in the ring. That was the best
I thought
part.
they were playing the Headbangers.
Excuse me?
Haven't you ever seen when, like, the Headbangers, they do that moshing dance they do?
I see.
That's exactly what these two did at the end.
I see.
Right?
Well, they had different facial expressions. They were clearly unhappy. It was not a dance. It was a tantrum.
It was a tantrum.
It was a fit, as Granny said. They threw a fit.
They were livid.
They were livid. They should have been. They lost. Tye Dillinger versus Eric Young in a cage match.
Hey, and thank God, let's talk about the bright side. Liv Morgan got a win on this show. Finally.
Yeah.
They were like, man, she's super good looking. She's going to be on the main roster soon. Let's give her a win for once. Sick of her getting beaten. You hear me? I'm sick of it.
Duly noted. So Dillinger versus Young.
Christ's sake, Jinder Mahal's getting a push. They can't push Liv Morgan? Yeah, I made that comparison.
Regardless, there was a boring cage match to main event the show. I don't blame you for trying to change the subject.
Listen, the last few minutes were good, but I have a massive problem with this match. And it's actually not either guy's fault, because it's just what wrestling is in 2017. But these guys, like, worked hard, and Eric Young was even bleeding. Like, how often do you see blood in WWE nowadays?
Once a year.
He's bleeding. They're in a cage match. They're actually working hard. Nobody cared at all. They didn't even care enough to be chanting 10, 10, 10 throughout the match.
No.
They didn't give a shit. Finally, after a match that they didn't react to one single solitary thing in, Eric Young goes up to the top of the cage. He does a flying elbow. Suddenly, the fans chant, "This is awesome." Now, if it was so fucking awesome, where were you fans for the first 15 minutes of this match while they were working? You were asleep. Guy does one flying elbow, and now it's an awesome match. Like, part of me was mad at the fans, but it's not their fault. That's what they've been conditioned to accept as an awesome match. A match is not awesome until there's a bunch of high flying and high spots. Then a match is awesome. Nobody cares about actual work anymore.
No.
They just want to see a bunch of moves. And the problem is, all those wrestlers watching this match, now they know the only way we're going to get a "This is awesome" chant is to fucking do something high flying. It doesn't matter if it makes any sense. We just got to do more high flying. It's all high spots now. It's a high spot business. Which, whatever the fans want to see, like, it's not my company. It's not my business. It's not my guys that get injured because of all this crazy stuff they have to do, but it's kind of sad. I mean, they were dead for this match until he jumped off the cage.
Yes. No,
Dead.
Everything about it, you're right. My reaction was, did someone tell Eric he's no longer in TNA and he does not need to do bumps off cages in front of 150 fans to get attention? They know who you are now? So, we had Ty hitting the tiebreaker, going for the door. Sanity came out to block his exit. Roderick Strong, Cassius Ohno, and Ruby Riott came out to brawl with Sanity. Somehow, Killian Dane ended up in the cage, and Ty did another dive off the top of the cage, although at least he had two guys to catch him. Wipes out Young, wipes out Dane, leaves the cage, locks it behind him, leaves Sanity locked in the cage. And then it's time for his big farewell celebration. And Strong and Ono carry him on their shoulders. The crowd's chanting, "Thank you, Ty," as he waves to them. It was a fine farewell.
It was a fine farewell. It was a fine farewell. And I like that, like, No Way Jose is dead.
Apparently.
He got jumped at TakeOver over WrestleMania weekend. It's April 20th.
Yeah.
He's just gone. He has permanently been replaced by Chris Hero.
Yes, and that's the key. It's not that he's gone, it's that he is not missed.
He's just out of here.
We just found someone else, son. Sorry.
Wow. That was the show. It was all right.
Starcade 84. Not shaping up as the best pay-per-view I ever saw.
No, it really is
I
not.
watched 1 hour, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, or hour number 2 here. There's still, the intermission was still going on, so we had the announcers discussing the card and upcoming matches. Tully Blanchard's going to wrestle Ricky Steamboat, which I bet's really good. But they noted Tully's arsenal included slaps to the face and, quote, an open harangue of language.
Yeah. You know, there were moments on this show where I really, really liked Gordon Soley. And then there were moments on this show where I really was not into Gordon Soley. It all depended on what he was saying and when. Like, Gordon Soley really was still at this point great at explaining, like, why a hold hurt and what was happening to a man in a hold. But there was stuff that, like, say what you want about the announcers nowadays, and I will, but at least, like, the announcers point out what the fuck's going on and whether it's important or not. Gordon Soley, there was stuff on this show where he missed what happened, and then he didn't care.
Yeah.
He was so bored.
Yes.
And I was like, you know, that loser leaves town match was kind of a big fucking deal. And he sold it like it was just two prelim geeks, and we were done with it. We got to move on to the next match. Well worse than anything you see in TNA as far as to the back.
He was really, really good at calling good matches, and at least on this show, not so good at calling crap. And unfortunately, this was a crap-intensive show. Let's see. Well, the first match we watched was Paul Jones and Jimmy Valiant in a loser leaves town tuxedo street fight. So they come in there in the tuxedos. Jones also has a cape, a full cape around his tuxedo. He is accompanied by one of the Zambui Express. Valiant is seconded by the Assassin.
Jimmy Valiant, seconded by the Assassin.
Yeah. That's what he
Wrestling
said.
is so fucking weird. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Not to mention, let's talk about what this match was.
Okay.
It was number one Paul Jones against the Boogie Woogie Man Jimmy Valiant, both in suit jackets, both attempting to tear each other's clothes off, strip the other naked.
Yeah.
And the fans loved it.
Fans, when they came out and Jones kind of had that moment of truth where he realized, oh no, I have to fight this guy, and he got scared, and Boogie Woogie Man was just boogieing and woogieing all over the place. The building's just electric for nothing.
All I heard about was how terrible this match was, how fucking awful it was. And I thought, Anybody who thought this match was terrible, number one, clearly you have a memory from 1984 and it's now 2017. Or if you've watched it recently, there's no way you watch anything current.
Yeah.
Like, this is not even in the universe of one of the worst matches ever. Paul Jones was a great heel, begging off, selling. Boogie Woogie was just the best at eliciting a crowd reaction with absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
The match wasn't long. It wasn't like a 35-minute horrible fucking match. They got in there, they did the shit, they did their finish, and they went home.
Yeah. I don't know what there is to complain about this match.
Because the bad guy won and sent the good guy away.
So the bell rings. There's a few seconds of pausing and Boogie Woogie intimidating him. And then Boogie charges. And as you have noted, there has never been a good guy who cheats more than Jimmy Valiant. Now, to be fair, this wasn't anything goes match. And it came to bite him in the end. But the first thing he did was to take out a rope. A rope. Tie it around Paul Jones's neck and then tie that to the top rope. He tried to kill him.
Yeah.
Via strangulation.
He tried to hang him to death.
Yes.
Is what he tried to do here.
Then, with Jones unable to defend himself, Valiant removed his own jacket first so he could throw more punches. Threw a few punches, took off Jones's jacket, tore off his shirt, yanked down his trousers.
He literally stripped number one Paul Jones down to like his underwear, which was actually wrestling trunks.
Yeah.
But the more he took off, the louder they cheered.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he was a bad guy and everything, but
yeah,
you're taking Paul Jones' clothes off.
It was not in their best interest to see this man naked, but it was in their best interest to see him humiliated.
Sure. And it's like wrestling. If you're out there in your trunks and your boots, it's not creepy.
Yeah.
But if your clothes are ripped off and you're in your gear, then it's creepy.
So he finally freed himself. He's in trunks, black socks, and like patent leather loafers. And yes, it was creepy. Even though if it had just been wrestling boots, it would have been probably fine. He does like 3 punches, and then Valiant comes back and puts him in a sleeper. And Valiant still got his white shirt on. And apparently somewhere, I missed this, but apparently Jones had been bleeding a little bit while tied to the ropes by the neck. But he was not bleeding sufficiently. So Valiant puts him in the sleeper. Jones gigs right on camera. Just drags a razor blade back and forth over his forehead repeatedly. And then bleeds profusely onto Valiant's white shirt. Just make sure there's blood everywhere.
I should have known when Valiant came out in that white shirt.
Yeah. Just trouble. So there were shenanigans with the Assassin and the Zambui Express and J.J. Dillon, who was all over this show. He comes out, he bonks Valiant with some sort of object, he puts Jones on top, and apparently you can win via stripping your opponent naked or pinning him. And Jones pinned Valiant and got the win.
They had the announcers with their back to the ring, and you could see the glass behind them.
You can see their reflection in the glass, yes.
I presume there was a monitor that they were looking into, but I'm not sure based on the reaction of the announcers to the finish of this match. They didn't see what happened. The camera cut away from the finish. We didn't see the pinfall. They go back to show a replay, and they're like, I believe he was hit with an object. Yep, he was hit with an object. 1, 2, 3. Let's go to the back. I was like, okay, first off, this fucking feud is a big deal, and it goes on for another, 2 years after this.
Yes, this feud never ends.
I mean, can we sell it a little bit? Jimmy Valiant has to leave town. Literally, that's what they said. Let's think about this. The Starcade in Greensboro, okay? They go around. They go around the horn, so to speak.
Around the loop.
Around the loop. They do shows all over the place. They literally said, the loser of this match must leave town. That's what they said.
Yeah.
I was like, well, can they work in Charlotte?
Columbia? I don't know.
I mean, where the fuck can they work?
Gainesville?
You said they got to leave town. Is that just this fucking building right here? He, of course, came back as Charlie Brown from out of town.
From out of town.
Because he's not allowed in town.
No.
Which is every town that the NWA promotes in. Apparently.
Yeah. Shivani interviewed Ric Flair. And this is really weird because we watched shows from various eras and our timeline At least in my head, it gets mixed up. So we of course watch the Horseman era Ric Flair every week on the retro shows, and the last pay-per-view we watched was 1983 Starcade, where Flair was straight babyface. But he's in the main event here against Dusty Rhodes, so I figured, okay, in the ensuing year he must have turned heel. Well, apparently not. He cut a straight babyface promo about being a fighting champion. He said some people liked him and some didn't, but they all knew he was the best wrestler in the world, and he hoped Dusty Rhodes was half the man he claimed to be so they could have a great match tonight.
You know, Ric Flair's in there, and they're talking about the fact that there's $1 million on the line in the match tonight. Let me say that again. There's $1 million that's going to the winner.
Cash.
Yeah. Flair then, or maybe it was Shivani, somebody notes that, if you're the champion, a year as champion, there's probably another $1 million coming to you.
Sure.
So we're talking at least $2 million this guy's going to make this year as the champion. Mm-hmm. There was another spot later in the show where J.J. Dillon gets in the ring. He's a manager, and he fucking I think he waffled Dick Slater. I can't remember who he hit, but whoever it was, they just stood there. Like, they didn't sell a thing. Because back in the day, there was a hierarchy. If you were a wrestler, you were famous, and you were rich. If you were the champion, you were fucking wealthy. If you were a manager and you hit a wrestler, the wrestler doesn't even sell it. It's so crazy. I mean, this is the way that it should be, right?
Right.
You don't go to a basketball game and think, every one of these star players here, I mean, they're just a fucking geek. They make no money. They do this only because they love it. They're like basketball marks, and so they do it for free. And I'm
College
fucking
fans
coming
do that.
here, and no, they're in college.
I see.
Right? They maybe got a scholarship or something.
They got a scholarship.
They're going to college, which is not cheap, for free by playing this fucking game.
Okay.
Just drives me crazy watching wrestling nowadays. Like, it's just crazy. Who's rich in storyline?
The McMahons.
The McMahons.
End of list.
Yeah. Everybody else is just groveling at their feet and lucky to have a job.
I see your point, yes. Dick Slater versus Ron Bass. I've seen a lot of Dick Slater, but I've never seen Dick Slater as a babyface before. So this is weird.
Sure was weird.
He was fine. They had a brawl. It's funny, I think he still does them, but there's awards like Best Flyer and Best Brawler and Best Technical Wrestler in The Observer. I can only think that if you are a modern-day WWE fan, you must not understand these awards at all, because every match and every wrestler is the same style, just a different finishing hold. Back in the day, you had different guys who worked different matches, and Ron Bass and Dick Slater got in there, they had a brawl. There was like one headlock takeover and a suplex, and otherwise just punching and kicking and stomping. They just got in there and had a fight. So Slater makes a comeback, hits a belly-to-belly and makes a cover. I guess the ref had already been thrown out at this point. Ref's down, Slater makes a cover. Here was where Dillon stomped him in the back of the head, and Slater just popped up and kicked his ass.
God, the bumps. JJ took better bumps than anyone on the show so far.
Yes,
It
for
was
sure.
crazy.
For sure.
There was one spot where Dick Slater punched JJ, and then he punched
Bass.
and like JJ jumped 10 feet in the air and did a flat back bump, and Bass just sort of rolled down to the ground like a luchador.
Yeah.
I was like, how about that?
Yeah. So eventually the ref returned. He determined that Slater had thrown him out of the ring. This was a disqualification, so Slater lost. Solely said this was a good decision and the right thing to do. And afterwards, Slater beat up both heels by himself, and frankly, his post-match attack was better than the match itself. We had Keith Larson and Ole Anderson versus Ivan and Nikita Koloff.
They played the national anthem, and then Keith and Ole start coming to the ring. Mm-hmm. And we have been watching these old pay-per-views in 3 parts because they're all about 3 hours long. We watch an hour a week. So the main event of the show is Ric Flair versus Dusty Rhodes. And so when they play the national anthem and Keith Larson starts coming to the ring, I initially almost stopped the show because I thought, oh, Ric Flair's coming to the main event. He's coming down for the main event.
I see.
And then I realized that's Keith Larson.
Yes.
How many fucking Ric Flair ripoffs were there in wrestling in the 80s?
All of them.
Oh my God. It's like Shawn Michaels today.
It's funny. I was looking at him, a little bit of Ric Flair, a little bit of Triple H, actually, back when he had long hair. But yes, bleach blonde.
A little Buddy Landell.
Little Buddy Landell, little Buddy Rogers. So here's the story. Ivan and Nikita are, of course, Russian, and therefore, in 1984, pure evil. Don Kernodle, as you'll recall from some of the other shows we have watched, was a protege of Sergeant Slaughter. But he had been teaming with Ivan, but then Ivan had turned on him and laid him out. So out comes Ole. He is accompanied by Don Kernodle, who is in street clothes with a neck braces, armless thing, and a crutch. Looked like Magnum TA actually coming to the ring of the Crockett Cup. And Ole's tag team partner was Kernodle's alleged brother, Keith Larson. Do we have all that?
I got it.
It's a lot going on. So you have this match, and
Ivan and Nikita are related.
Right.
In storyline.
Yes, they're nephew and uncle.
What a job Ivan had. The more I look back at the 80s, his job was to get big stiffs and try and teach him how to work in tag matches.
Pretty much, actually.
Yeah.
And he
Another reason to put him in the Hall of Fame.
he scored with Nikita.
He did not quite score with...
Vladimir Pietrov was a tougher challenge, a tougher load to bear.
He was a tougher challenge. But he got better.
He got better. He did get better. So I don't think I'd ever even heard of Keith Larson before this match. But obviously I knew everyone else. They had what I thought was a really good tag match.
Yeah. And Nikita was super green, so think about that.
Yes. They did get the shine on Ivan forever. I think 10 minutes went by in this match before the Russians made one tag.
Well, the story was Ivan just kept getting his ass handed to him over and over and over and over and over again until he finally had the opportunity to tag the Monster.
Yes.
Then the baby
key.
faces were in trouble.
As soon as Nikita tagged in, it's, well, we're fucked. So they worked over Ivan's arm forever, but they were crazy intense working over this arm. This felt real. Ole is doing... I've seen spinning toe holds before. Ole is the first guy I've ever seen do a spinning finger hold. We did the same thing, but to the guy's arm, because Ole's attack is laser focused. I'm going to attack your fucking arm until it falls off. Ivan sold and sold and sold. At some point, he got bleeped for selling too much. Keith Larson, by the way, as young proteges go, much better than Tim Horner. So finally, a desperate Ivan. It was almost like a hot tag, but in reverse. But Ivan's finally able to tag Nikita, and now the Russians are, victory is guaranteed because he's unstoppable. And they work over Ole back and forth. They tag in and out a while. Still working very hard. Still a very fast pace.
I wonder if fans back in the day had this figured out. Because I was watching this match and they were just beating on Ivan for so long. I literally went upstairs and came back down. They were still beating on the guy. And it's very clear to me that, well, clearly the heels are winning. Because they took most of this, or the babyfaces took the majority of this match. It was like a pattern. They did this for years.
Yeah. So Nikita goes for a bear hug. Ole does a counter I've never seen where he does like an overhook of Nikita's arms, lifts him just a little bit in the air, and then drops him down so Nikita's chin is driven into Ole's skull.
Yeah, it was an awesome jaw jacker.
A jaw jacker, yes.
Never seen it before. Double overhook jaw jacker.
Yes, and Nikita goes down, and Ole has just one chance to tag Keith Larson. Larson makes an awesome comeback and breaks down into a four-way. Nikita leaves the ring to wipe out Kernodle. What a dick, attacking the injured man. Ole leaves the ring to get Nikita. This distracts the ref. Ivan whacks Larson with a foreign object. The ref turns around, and he counts 3, I am told, because the cameras missed it. Did I mention the production on the show is terrible?
Another missed finish here on this show. It's crazy.
I'm going to forgive it because everything in the 20 minutes up to that was very fun. This was a very good tag match.
It was a very, very good tag match. And the Kernodle attack after the match was the best thing on the show.
Kernodle's comeback, where he's destroying his own crutches over the Russians' heads and backs, that was awesome. And the place went nuts. So even though the villains won the match, the heroes saved the day.
A fine battle.
Best thing on the show by miles.
Yep, so next week we got Tully and
Steamboat.
Ricky.
Yeah.
We got Wahoo versus superstar Billy
yes.
Graham.
Oh, yes.
And we have got Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair in the $1 million challenge.
Now, we'll have to watch that next week because in addition to being a fine pro wrestler, and of course, a power lifter. They claimed Billy Graham was also a champion in karate and jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, this was when he was doing the karate gimmick.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll see about that.
And don't forget Smokin' Joe Frazier is a referee.
Oh, I don't think they mentioned that one time.
You know, you'd think that a kangaroo as a referee would be a big story, but
That's true.
apparently not.
I hope they take him back to Broken Matt's Menagerie. All right, Raw, April 17th, 2017. Braun comes out for a promo.
I've literally forgot everything about this show. I can't remember a thing that happened.
Literally, the only thing that matters is the last spot. So Braun comes out. He says, "I killed Roman Reigns." Everyone cheers. And Kurt comes out. He announces Roman versus Strowman at Payback, which they just did at whatever the hell the February show was called. He says Strowman should be suspended. Strowman blows off this threat and demands more competition. And Kurt says, "Or else what?" And Strowman walks away.
Braun is a hell of a babyface.
I know.
Like, all he wants is just to get out there on TV every week and just face the toughest guys.
And kick their ass.
Kicks Roman Reigns' ass.
He is stone cold Braun Strowman.
He literally, it's the same thing we've been saying over and over again. All of their best baby faces are heels.
Yes. And their top their top heel. Anyway. Chris Jericho versus Samoa Joe. It was fun while it lasted for, 3.5, 4 minutes. Joe hooked the choke. Jericho had a long struggle, finally tapped out. And Joe cut a promo on Seth. Says he's going to get him at payback for what he had done to Hunter and Stephanie, who are still main eventers even though they're not on the show. And Seth says, "No, I will beat you." Goldust and Truth were walking backstage.
The most notable thing about that match was how many times I had to hear the word King Slayer.
Well, yes.
God almighty.
Among the many problems with this company is that they are a PR firm run amok.
They really are. It's crazy.
Goldust and Truth were walking backstage. I was trying to figure out who screwed up and put them on Hulu when Strowman showed up and killed them. And the agents showed up and chased him away, and hey, there's Jamie Noble. Cool.
Yeah, he's back from his stabbing.
Yes.
That is good news.
That's good news. We had a skit that I thought was going to be awesome and then was lame, and then it turned out to have no payoff.
Oh, Miz and Maurice?
No, that's later.
What are you on?
Braun Strowman
Oh, with the ref?
with the ref.
This was fucking amazing.
Braun sitting there with
This is what I love about professional wrestling.
Yes.
Stuff like this.
Braun sitting there being Braun Strowman. And a ref comes in and says, essentially, "Mr. Strowman, I have been sent here to tell you you have the night off." Now, Brian, I know you've probably never watched an episode of Star Trek in your life, but they had these guys called red shirts. And when they go to a new planet, there'd be Kirk and Spock and 2 or 3 red shirts, and you always knew 1 to 3 of those red shirts was going to die within 5 minutes. I thought this ref was a red shirt. I thought he was being sent in here. He gave Braun this message. I thought Braun was going to swallow him whole, just devour him. Braun says, "I'll leave when I want to," and the ref left. And then Braun never killed him later.
Well, I gotta say that number one, this ref was the bravest man I've ever seen.
Yes.
Number two, what I love about wrestling is the idea that Kurt Angle wanted Braun Strowman to leave the building. And so his plan was to find one skinny, weak-looking referee and say, "Go into Braun's locker room by yourself and please remove him from the building."
Yeah.
That was their fucking plan. Loved it.
Then we had Miz and Maurice coming out. Dean Ambrose almost immediately interrupted.
You missed the Gallows and Anderson versus Enzo and Cass match.
I did.
Yep. Where Enzo got pinned. I know you're shocked.
Mm-hmm.
And the only other notable thing about this was they announced that the Revival is out of action because Dash Wilder got his jaw cracked by Tommy Atami, by the way.
Yeah.
At a house show. These fucking guys have got to stop hurting each other.
Please?
Like, it's getting out of control now. The last 2 weeks have been crazy with guys killing each other. This guy had to have his jaw wired shut.
That sucks.
Yep, he's not going to be back for 2 months now because Hideo Itami punched his face, broke his jaw.
So Miz and Maurice come out from Miz TV. And they're in Columbus, Ohio.
Which, by the way, one other thing. So, the Revival, their big debut is they break the leg of Kofi Kingston.
Yes.
Kofi Kingston then goes to SmackDown so we can have no feud.
Of course.
And then This poor fucker breaks his jaw, and so now they're off TV for 2 months.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's the curse of anyone who gets called up.
I guess granted,
Death will befall you.
they did beat the New Day in their one match on TV, but still.
Now can I talk about Ms. Maurice?
Yeah, sure. Okay. I'm waiting.
So Ambrose says, we are in Columbus, Ohio. It is neutral ground for you are from Cleveland, I am from Cincinnati. We should all be friends here. And everyone cheered. So Miz cuts a promo on Dean. Miz, you see, had been Intercontinental Champion. He made the belt important, and he dressed and carried himself so that WWE talent looked like superstars. But now Dean is champion. He makes them all look like wrestlers. May as well put on fanny packs and Zubaz, he says. Which I think would be awesome.
Zumbas, he actually said.
One of them said Zumbas. So Miz is very annoyed at how successful Dean has been. He was the top pick in the 2016 draft. He was WWE champion at SummerSlam. This is all true, by the way. It's hard to believe. Barely, not even a year ago. But at the second biggest show of the year, Dean Ambrose was the champion of the whole company. And then, by Mania, he's barely on the show at all. I thought, Miz has a point here. But then he lost that point when he said, Dean, you've never broken the glass ceiling. Now, how can that be if you yourself, 30 seconds ago, just said he was champion for months at the second biggest show of the year? Clearly, he broke a lot of ceilings.
Well, because the answer, Vinny, is that just because you're the champion in this company does not mean that you're breaking any glass ceilings.
It's so stupid.
Because everybody gets belts.
It's so
As
stupid.
long as you're a hard worker and you deserve it, you're going to get a belt or an opportunity. But that doesn't mean you've broken through any glass ceilings.
Called Dean lazy and complacent. So Dean fired up, said, I don't care about movies and talk shows. I love what I do.
I do it for free.
I love getting my ass kicked. I love kicking ass. Fighting in front of 20 people or 20,000. That's why I am the Intercontinental Champion and why I beat you. Maurice runs down Dean for a while. Miz runs down Dean for a while. And finally, Dean tackles Miz. They brawl. Maurice whacks Dean in the back.
This was so awesome when she hit him from behind.
Yeah. Now,
finally, somebody no-sells a manager.
Yes.
And he was so great when he did it.
He sold it as a way to say, that hurt, but not that he was taken out.
Sure.
It delayed him briefly.
It was like he got stung by a bee.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just hurt, but it's not that bad, but he's fucking furious.
He got an owie. And he turned around and confronted her. Nothing really came of it, and Miz and Maurice fled.
I'm quite certain that this whole feud is designed for you, Vinny. Because the rest of us had to see this fucking feud all last year on SmackDown.
Oh, sure, yeah.
You skipped the show. Mm-hmm. So now they're like, well, let's just move it to Raw and make Vinny suffer through it.
That good, huh?
Oh, man. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't...
It wasn't the same shit every week?
It had its great moments.
All right.
But then they wrestled. That was the problem.
Strowman threw Kalisto into a dumpster backstage.
You've seen Miz wrestle, right?
I'm afraid I have.
And you've seen Ambrose.
I'm afraid I have.
They're going to wrestle each other.
Yeah. I bet it's the same match every week.
It's like two icebergs. Like, instead of the Titanic hitting the iceberg hits another iceberg.
Interesting.
That's what we're talking about here.
So, Big Show broadside Strowman, sends him flying into a big door, dares to pick on someone his own size, and after the break, they announced that match for tonight. Had the Hardys interviewed backstage. Very much not broken. Very much not obsolete.
Kind of broken.
It's like
every now and then Matt would slip and slide.
One smile he'll flash, or one tremendous or something. But he's fixed. He's fixed Matt Hardy.
What it is, here's where I think the storyline is going. When they won those tag titles, he claims his condition was healed.
I see.
But his condition is like an addiction. It's not going to be healed.
So you're suggesting when he loses the belts,
there will be a relapse at some point.
I see.
And he will be once again broken.
So basically you have to start the storyline over.
Sure.
Which is fine. It's a great.
Yeah.
Anyway, they talked about how great the current company was, and how great the talent was, and how great the fans were. And Sheamus and Cesaro interrupted, politely welcomed them back to the company, put them over as legends, said it would be a great honor to beat them at Payback. It was basically the exact same meeting that Tyler Bate and Jack Gallagher had on NXT.
You see, what they've got to do is they've got to do a deal where from now until like SummerSlam, Matt and Jeff are the Hardy Boys, Everything's happy. They're so glad to be there. Every now and then something happens and Matt'll kind of, but he'll go back to being mad again. You got to build it up so the people know it's coming.
Yes.
And if you shoot the angle at like a SummerSlam with all the hardcores there and they lose those titles and he fucking snaps and they just destroy whoever beat them and then they start doing the delete. I mean, the place will fucking lose their shit when that happens. You got to do it right, though.
This is all true. Nia Jax versus Mickie James versus Alexa Bliss versus Sasha Banks. God bless these women. They tried their hardest, but did this match need to go 12 minutes?
No, it did not need to go 12
Jericho
minutes.
and Joe could go 4?
It's because it's a women's match, and I hate to use this word because now I'm overusing it, and I don't really mean it the way it sounds, but they deserve 12 minutes. That's like the idea. But they don't need 12 minutes. That's the point. Mm-hmm. Like, sometimes you can give the women 12 minutes, but if Nia Jax is in there, in a fucking three-way, they do not need 12 minutes.
No.
They need 6.
So it went on forever. The good news is it's a 4-way, so sometimes it was a good match when Nia was out of the ring. Sadly, she would come back to the ring and then it would be a bad match. She's doing bear hugs and chokeholds. Mickie puts her in an arm bar, and Nia sells it by squawking like a large bird. I am not a fan of Nia Jax, unless she seems to get worse every week. Goes on for a while, and finally Nia wipes out Mickie. She hits Sasha with a Samoan drop, but Alexa kicks her out of the ring. Alexa, from Columbus, her hometown, steals the pin on Sasha. So she gets the win. She's the number 1 contender and will face Bayley at some point. At least the finish got a big pop. Big Show interview.
Oh my God. I love Charlie. She's very, very cute. And she does her best. But earlier in the night, the Big Show ran over Braun Strowman. And the Big Show said, you need to pick on someone your own size. Right?
Yes.
Charlie gets the opportunity to interview the Big Show. And her question is, Big Show, why did you do what you did earlier to Braun Strowman? To which Big Show replies, he needs to pick on someone his own size.
that is what happened.
Fucking made Hulu.
Yes. That's exactly what happened. No one else had made Hulu. Kurt Hawkins cutting a promo. He said he wrestled Big Show last week, and now Big Show's in the main event. So he challenged anyone to come out and join Kurt Hawkins' Star Factory. His gimmick, literally, he is a jobber to the stars. And he knows it and embraces it. It is his job to go out there and lose to stars so they can look better when they main event. That's in storyline, what he's doing.
Yeah. Now, do you think, Vinny, that if next week on this show, they did a 6-pack challenge and Kurt Hawkins won and was going to be the number 1 contender to the Universal title, I would be listening to people on my Twitter for 3 straight days telling me how awesome it is, and I just don't get it.
I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know who follows you on Twitter.
A bunch of weirdos, apparently.
That's clear. We had Kurt Hawkins versus Finn Balor. Finn is a star. He squashed him and won with a coup de grace in a minute.
This made me it actually made me mad because why didn't Finn Balor do this with Jinder Mahal 2 weeks ago? Like, why did he go 50-50 with Jinder?
Well, they had big plans for Jinder, of course.
Oh, I'm sure at the time they had fucking big plans for Jinder. You think they think a week in advance? No.
I think they thought, well, moving to a new show, everyone will forget.
Everybody was going to forget that he lost to Finn Balor.
They think their fans are stupid.
But the point is,
yes.
Vinny, if they were going to give him the number 1 contendership, he wouldn't have lost to anybody on Raw on his last night. Give me a break.
I think he would have. Because they think when you switch shows, it's like starting over. It's like it used to be.
Why do I have so much faith in this company? I don't get it.
I don't know. They didn't do it this year, but the gimmick for a long time was the person who gets the title shot after Mania is the guy who loses the second match at Mania. It happened like 3 or 4 years in a row. And this year it's not happening. I have to look up who that was. I forget who the second match was now, but it's not happening.
It
Anyway,
was Jericho.
probably. Oh yeah, Jericho and Owens. And Jericho is not getting a world championship match. Jericho was here cutting a promo. He admitted he lost to Samoa Joe, said there's no shame in that. He is still distracted by his upcoming match against Kevin Owens. He did all his comedy, including an argument over whether the announcer was named Mike or Tom, before finally settling on Mike Tom. And then as he's talking, the Drifter drifts through and just keeps on drifting. He drifts in frame, he drifts out of frame, he doesn't slow down, speed up, or stop at any point. That's the best thing the Drifter ever did right there.
You know what makes me really mad about modern day wrestling is this fucking Drifter. But
He is what makes you mad?
But you know what? As soon as he drifted through the screen and Jericho acknowledged him, I thought, Jericho's got a band.
Yes.
And the Drifter, plays the guitar. So, if this were my company, I'd say, Chris, come up with a storyline involving music with you and the Drifter. I guarantee it would be great. You could even do something like the Drifter's mad that he lost a Loser Leaves Town match, but he got his guitar back, so they're going to do a loser gets to go on tour with his band match. Or fucking something, anything. Yeah. Like, they're both music guys. You should be able to make a good fucking feud out of this with the Drifter. I can't think of anybody that you could make a good Drifter feud with, except Chris Jericho. But instead what's going to happen is they're going to have a match like in 2 weeks, and Drifter's going to win, and Jericho's going to go on tour. And that'll be it. There's so much potential here that will be untapped.
And a spooky Bray Wyatt promo. You watch this, and all I could think was, you were WWE Heavyweight Champion at the biggest show of the year like 3 weeks ago. And now you seem like just any other mid-card goof on this show. He went on for about 6 hours about inviting Randy Orton into his house of horrors and burning it down with Randy inside. Jeff Hardy versus Cesaro.
You missed an all-time horrible segment with Alicia Fox, Dana Brooke, and Emma backstage. I have nothing to add.
All right. Jeff Hardy versus Cesaro. Fans were chanting for Brother Nero. Had a fun match, although not a ton of heat, I think because the fans didn't want to see either guy lose. So finally, Jeff caught him with the Twist of Fate stunner and a senton for the win. Sheamus hits the ring pissed, but then Matt hits the ring and stands over Jeff, and Sheamus regains his cool, and he and Cesaro offered handshakes, and the Hardys returned.
You know what's weird about this whole TNA Broken Hardys thing? Like, they should be able to just call the guy Brother Nero.
It's his name.
It's his brother, and his middle name is Nero.
Yeah.
Right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, I guess they could break Matt's leg, and then you should be able to call him Broken Matt, right?
That seems unnecessary.
It does seem unnecessary. I'm just looking for ways to make this work.
Take all his money away. He's broke.
Hey, there's another one. Yeah, what if it's broke Matt Hardy? It's not broken. He's got no money.
Yes. Oh, I bet if you asked
He opened
Matt,
a fucking strip mall with the Big Show.
I bet if you asked Matt, he'd rather break his leg.
Well, I sure as hell would.
Yeah. Big Show and Braun Strowman. These...
I liked it. I really
It picked up at the
enjoyed
end.
it. I really enjoyed this match.
When these guys... Do you remember, Brian? It may have been like the first PWF show of all time when Big Wood and Avalanche got blown up and were walking the ropes.
How the fuck could I could be 1,000 years old.
Okay.
With no brain left, I'll remember that.
In their defense, that was several minutes into the match. These big dudes got in there and were walking the ropes 30 seconds in. Then they did chain wrestling. I'm not sure it was any better.
Well, they needed to pace themselves.
They
had to
certainly
put in
did.
some time.
They certainly did. They lumbered around the ring for a long time.
I was amazed because it started at 2 hours and 58 minutes into the show. And I thought, well, they'll probably go off the air at like 3 hours and 5 minutes. It's 3 hours and 12 minutes in, and they're still going.
Yes.
I was like, why?
So the whole point of this match is A, have a Strowman kick out of both of Show's finishers. B, of course, is to do the big suplex spot at the end of the ring collapses. So they keep going up top, and the key is it's Big Show going for the superplex, and he can't get it. He can't get the superplex. Braun knocks him down. Braun jumps into a finish, but then he kicks out. So Braun knocks him down, jumps into a chokeslam, kicks out. Braun knocks him down, jumps into the knockout punch, still kicks out. Now, Show is desperate. He tried both of his finishes. Let me go up to the top rope, he says. And he goes up to the top rope. And I think by now the fans knew what was going to happen, but they still wanted to see it really bad. And Braun cuts Big Show off, and he heads up there and he hits the big superplex, and the ring collapses, and the star of the show, this referee, who took the best bump of all time. You watch it live, and the ring collapses, and he just falls off and disappears. It's like he's falling off a dock into a lake.
Well, it was weird because I'd heard about the referee before I watched it. And so when I watched it, it was really awesome. And honestly, the first thing I thought was, how did he not know the ring was going to break?
Yeah.
He appeared to be caught absolutely, completely off guard. But then when I watched it a second time, they do this all the time. It's like it looked great from one angle, so they make sure to show you it from another angle where it doesn't look very impressive. He just fell outside the ring.
See, I thought it still looked impressive from the second angle.
It was. Listen, the guy deserves a lot of credit.
He flies over to the side of the mat, and he takes the bump exactly like you'd want to, except he's still bumping, granted from a 1 foot instead of 3, but he takes a flat back bump on the mats, essentially. So everyone hits the ring to make sure these guys are alive, and then it turns out Braun Strowman is not only alive, but he can get to his feet on his own and do a mighty roar!
Because he's the best babyface in the entire company.
He is.
He's so awesome.
And that was Raw.
You know, I got really, 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 really mad at whatever that show was, Fastlane, when Roman Reigns beat him.
Fastlane, that was it, yes.
I was so goddamn furious when Roman Reigns beat this guy. There's no way Roman can beat him here, right? There's no way.
Of course he is.
In storyline, Roman is coming back with a serious injury. They've done such a good job with Braun Strowman. And I guess in theory, Braun versus Brock is next. They cannot. I mean, they just can't have Roman beat the guy again.